it's kind of funny. Like I talk to, studio people who want to do indie stuff, and then indie people want to do studio. Nobody's happy.
Totally.
Everybody wants what the other person has, and they don't realize that it might not be what they want.
Okay, so running company is lots of uncertainty and lots of risk taking. I think that every one of them probably appreciates boring more than they used to. Everyone who's been in a ton of uncertainty feels like boring is better than it was.
Yeah.
And I'm a big appreciator of it. Maybe I'm too habituated into like swimming in uncertainty and dealing with complexity. Like I still find myself naturally going there and enjoying that. But some conscious part of my brain is trying to find a way to live boring for at least some part of my life before I die.
Yeah, I saw a thread on on Blue Sky or something where young Gen Z types were goofing on the Matrix because they're like, wow, the Matrix, he starts off Neo like, wow, my job is too stable and I make too much money and I'm too comfortable of a living. This sucks. And they were saying, did people in 1999 really think that way? And I was thinking about that a lot. And I was just
like, yeah, we did.
Yeah, we really did.
So did.
And now we would probably all, be envious of such a boring, predictable lifestyle.
It's like, can I just take the blue pill for a couple months?
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Of course, that movie was pre.com crash, so
yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Sometimes these days I fantasize about the more boring existence. However, also, we've been able to create things out of thin air that now exist.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And I find a lot of people, live in this perpetual state of, I would like to have done this, I'd like to have done that. They have a lot of project ideas or things that they would like to make and they never make them. Was it worth it? Well, we'll find out at the end, I suppose.
I mean, so far I'd say it's worth it for me. I mean, I think I am addicted to figuring things out and learning about stuff and figuring out how things work. This has been good 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there have been ups and downs, and not all the ups are the good parts, not all the downs are the bad parts. There's been, it's been, and we get to meet super interesting people.
Yeah. That's true.
And like now we've known them or each other for like more than 10 years, more than 20 years sometimes. And you get to see all the patterns of smart people getting good at stuff, moving into this or that, evolving into this or that. And then we get to try to do it ourselves. It's a big pile of fun. The only thing we got wrong is that the proportion of boring is too small.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you have a family, right? You've raised you've been able to pull off, this sort of stable family life role in also navigating the insanity of running a business and being an independent.
So none of the good stuff in the family has happened during running the business.
Okay.
That has definitely been that has caused some tension. But
yes.
I had a number of sort of halcyon years of consulting before that.
Right.
And that was very nice.
So that's included in the 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, interesting. Yeah. I mean, because that's the thing about consulting. To me, consulting, you eat what you kill.
Yeah.
I had a period of time where I was producing games that I sold on mobile. That's an asset-based business. Then I flipped to a service-based business, which was consulting. But that was very roller coastery, right? Because when you sell games on Steam or whatever, you make money while you sleep. But if you're consulting, you have to keep working, and when you stop working, you stop making money.
Totally.
But also, it can kind of fill in the gaps when stuff you're selling isn't out or isn't selling anymore. There's a balance.
There's something I was realizing. I was talking to somebody, and we were having a conversation about why something failed. I'm trying to remember the details. Okay, I'm going to let go of the details. But
yeah.
So we were really, the punchline was, it looks like my friend would choose personal growth over success sometimes. And then I immediately realized that mostly I did exactly the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's that we chose the more interesting path repeatedly and perhaps irresponsibly. That this choice that would have been smarter, it might have even been easier sometimes, and clearly more likely to result in success. But no, we went this harder way. We went this harder way that was more interesting, that had more uncertainty, that there was more unknowns to explore. There was access to interesting experiences that had much lower chances of success, right? That if that choice is something that you're making over and over and over and over again, maybe that's just on me.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's also a degree of survivorship bias or whatever. Like I know a lot of people who I look at the people who have the quote unquote boring existence in some of these companies who've done quite well, but I know plenty of people who didn't. People who moved every year, they kept getting laid off.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to live basically in the same place for 25 years. It's not easy, but I know people who've had to travel all around the world for a job. And it's funny too, because they would come to me. I remember occasionally I've tried to fire myself several times, but also people have tried to recruit me for certain teams, and I can see the writing on the wall. Like I remember this one particular team at a large console publisher was asking me if I wanted to work there, and I was thinking to myself, like, you're all getting laid off. Like the game you're working on is not going to sell, and they're gonna. I didn't say this to them, but in my mind I'm like, nah, I'm good, and that's what happened. Like. And now we see with the layoffs going on today too. It's like it's. I kind of feel like if you're running your own thing, you're always hunting for the opportunity or the money or whatever. Yeah. But when you're working at a company, you're kind of caught off guard when that happens. And does that make it any easier? I don't know. You kind of feel like you have more agency. You're able to do something about it.
Having the agency is really good for your emotional stability.
Yeah.
And then having the money is like really good for your like physical stability.
Yeah, for everything else. Yeah.